Hi, so today I'm going to be discussing my response to the video we had to watch, which was Time for School 3, Part 1. I'm Amanda Bassett in Brother Maker's class. There were a lot of different things I noticed, and a lot of things that I think they wanted to point out to us. The reason they went to 7 different countries to follow these different kids is so we could see the difference between cultures. And immediately, my first thought was how our culture compares to all these other ones, and we do have a dropout rate. It's not significantly high as places such as Kenya or Afghanistan, but the attitude is completely different. I remember the girl from Afghanistan, she was saying, who doesn't love school? And here in America, we have a problem getting our kids to school all the time. And there's an attitude of school as a punishment that we have to fulfill. And in other places, it's such a blessing to them. It's something they look forward to. It's something they work for. If it's taken away from them, it's something that they do miss and they try to get back. Um, and I just thought that was very interesting, and how maybe we need to adjust our thoughts and our attitudes on education. And because there's so many places everywhere in the world where people that would want to receive an education do not have the opportunity to do so. And here, we have our government that forces us to do it. If we don't go to school, we get truancy notices and our families get fined, and it is a big deal. And it's just so sad to me that there are people that just take it so much for granted when there are people that are struggling so much to receive any type of education. So we visited lots of different countries. This video covered Afghanistan, it covered Brazil, India, and Japan. So the first one they covered was Shugafa. I don't really know how to pronounce her name, but she was 16. They were saying that there was a huge rise of kids that are actually in primary education in Afghanistan. However, there are still a third of their children that are not in primary education, and most of those being girls. It is very difficult in Afghanistan, education-wise, because of it's the most dangerous place in the world right now. That's what they said. And also, there are so many people that are so against girls going to school in Afghanistan. And they have acted out in violence, bombings, burning down buildings, attacking teachers and students and girls. And that makes it very difficult and very fearful for them and their families for them to send their girls to school. So most will just keep them home to keep them safe. Even if they don't agree that girls shouldn't receive an education, they will still do that. So this girl, she said, I want to be an engineer. And if I'm an engineer, I want to be a journalist. And even then, that's if I don't become a doctor. So it was amazing to me that she had such high ambitions. And even though her country was telling her no, or so many people, maybe not her country, but so many groups like the Taliban were telling her no, she was not able to do this, and she fought for it. And you see that commonality through all the students. They all start out just like we do, I want to be an ice cream truck driver, I want to be an engineer, I want to be an astronaut. It's all these things we dream of, and we want to do a little bit of everything. And even though they don't receive the same opportunities that we do, they want the same things, and they dream about the same things. And she's the one that said, who doesn't love school? And that really impacted me, and how much she wanted it, but how much we take it for granted here. She explained it. She said, if they don't send girls to school, it's a cup without a handle, and it's half of their people aren't receiving an education to better their countries. It's half the amount of chances that they had to develop better ways of doing things. She started school at 11, which is a lot later than we start school, and it was because she was taking refugee in Pakistan with her family, and they were coming back. Her mom said that when she was home, she came back home, she feels free again, because she's so scared that her daughter is going to be hurt while she's there at school. She still has all the womanly duties that you would expect in a culture of Afghanistan. She does all the household work and different things like that, but she also does it at the same time, and the goal is to try to keep her in as long as possible. So Jefferson was from Brazil. I thought this was really interesting. In the government there, for poor families, they actually pay the families to send their kids to school. And I just thought how different that was from our culture. There would be an uproar if somebody said, let's pay these kids to go to school. But you know what? In Brazil, it's working. They do have a sharp increase of the kids that are in school, but there still is a big dropout among the poor families, probably because, if you can't even find enough food for the day, sending your kid to school when you could be at home helping is a huge sacrifice. But Jefferson skipped a grade. He's excelling in his classes. He wants to be a soccer player after the famous soccer player Kaká, or something like that, his name. But it is a dangerous place, and his mom had been unemployed for 6 years. Finally found a job and was away from home, and that was hard on her children. But she does everything she can to keep him from becoming a drug dealer, or as she put it, her daughter becoming a whore, so becoming a prostitute. And she puts him in programs to try to keep him off the streets. And that's a difference from Afghanistan, the fear of being killed, and in Rio, the fear of becoming something bad. And then we have Nerja in India. They have about 20 million kids not in school, 60%. And then they say the kids that are in school are actually not learning. They're not actually learning to read. They're not actually learning to do basic math skills. And that is a huge difference from all the other countries, because at least that they were in school, they were actually learning something. But in this case, they weren't at all. And I thought that was very interesting. The last kid was Ken from Japan, and they have 100%, almost 100% of their kids in a secondary education. And the world average is about less than 60%. So that was amazing. Japan is obviously doing something right. They used to have, where the kids went to school every day, and it was rigorous. But they just before they started previewing Ken, they just lowered that, so kids don't have to go to school on Saturday anymore. And also another thing that I thought was really interesting and very helpful was actually that the government gave state-funded daycare for when the kids aren't in school. And I just thought what a wonderful thing this was. And obviously it's something that works. It's because the parents can send their kids to this daycare and go work full-time like they need to, and be able to support their kids through school, and be able to give them the education they need. And I feel like that's a dynamic that other places in the world obviously do not have, and maybe should adopt in some way if they could. So this is my response, and thank you for watching.